Right, so same as usual, working at your own pace, making sure that there is no pain or discomfort, as in joint pain. Muscular discomfort, entirely up to you. If you need to stop and have a little stretch, stop and stretch. If you can keep it going for as long as you can. Usual probes, a ball, a cushion, and then a band, a strap, a belt, anything that we can use to assist, especially with the legs. If you're seated, trying to find that seated position, that upright seated position that is not squashing you down at the front. So it's not compressing the diaphragm, preventing it from moving as it should, and creating that nice relaxed breath. So see if I can create space at the front so that the diaphragm has got the space to move up and down to encourage that nice relaxed belly breathing. So the front of the chest is nice and soft, the neck is nice and relaxed, the throat, the shoulders are nice and relaxed. If you're laying down, just using the mat to help relax as much as you can. Setting the legs straight or bent, the arms relaxing down by the side, encouraging the shoulders to roll out, the front of the chest to open up. And then same as usual, just running that quick scan over the body. So noticing how the body feels to begin with. Is there any tension anywhere? Do I feel any maybe pain or discomfort anywhere? Do I feel straight? Do I feel wonky? What about the pressure under my seat bones if I'm sitting? What about the pressure at the back of my shoulders and the back of the hips if I'm lying down? The position of the head, the position of the arms, the right and left side are the same. Is one slightly turned, is slightly more open than the other. I'm not changing anything, just noticing where everything is and how I feel to begin with. And then see if I can encourage the breath, taking the breath down into the belly, feeling the belly raising, drawing in with the inhale, and then relaxing with the exhale. So see if I can calm the breath, and then with the breath, calm the nervous system, calm the body. As I feel the breath is a little bit more settled, is a little bit more relaxed, I'm going to start focusing on the shoulders. I'm going to shrug the shoulders up to the head, elevate the shoulders, and then I'm going to press them down and away, depress them. So I'm going to shrug them up and then press them down. Just picturing the shoulder blades moving up and down the back of the rib cage. Same as usual, noticing where the tension is. If I keep the shoulder centered, the tension is nice and even between the front of the chest and the back of the shoulder. If I keep the shoulder forward slightly, the tension is predominantly at the front of the chest. If I exaggerate and squeeze the shoulders behind me, the tension will be predominantly at the back. So see if I can try and find that midway position where I feel that there is a nice even tension front to back. I can feel the shoulder blades gliding up and down the back of the rib cage, the shoulder girdle moving. 3, 2, 1. Keeping the shoulders depressed. So think of a nice long neck at all time. I'm going to start protracting. So I'm going to pull the shoulders forward, and then I'm going to squeeze them together. Pull them forward, and then squeeze them together. So if I'm seated, I've got lots of space, so I might start using the space to encourage a nice flexion and extension through the thoracic spine as well. If I'm lying down, I'm limited for space, but I can still create movement through the shoulder girdle. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. And releasing back, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, just relaxing through the shoulders, relaxing through the neck, and then adjusting the position of the shoulder. I'm going to focus on the shoulder joint. I'm going to raise the arms up to the front, with one arm, I'm going to come down towards the hips. With one arm, I'm going to go up towards the head, towards the ceiling if I'm seated. And then I'm just going to switch the arms over. It could be a very little movement. It could be a very big movement. If I'm lying down, I'm working with gravity, so it makes things a little bit easier. If I'm seated up, I'm working against the gravity, so the arm feels heavier to lift. So don't force it, making sure that as the arm is coming up, it doesn't feel as if the shoulder is suddenly shrugging back up to the head. So see if I can keep it down, see if I can keep it loose. So from one side to the other. The head is free to move, so it's not locked, it's not stiffening in one position. It's able to turn from side to side with ease. 4, 3, 2, 1. Easing the arm down, again, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, and then I'm going to try the same, but this time I'm going to take both arms together. So I know which shoulder is the stiff one, if one side is different from the other, so I'll always follow the stiff side. So I'm not going to force the stiff side. The stiff side is going to be my lead. So I'm going to raise both arms together, and then I'm just going to let them fall back. Lift them together and then come back. As the arms come up, see if you can imagine the front of the chest, the lifting slightly. So see if I can start to encourage a little thoracic extension. So making sure that it doesn't feel as if my back is hunching and my head is suddenly poking forward. See if I can keep the head on top of the shoulders. See if I can keep the shoulders down. And then again, if you're lying down, just use the mat to relax. So the mat is offering support, is guiding the spine, my head is down, my shoulders are down, my hips are down, just the arms are moving. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, relaxing into the shoulders. I'm going to change the direction of the movement. So instead of a front raise, I'm going to try and go into a little opening and closing. So bring the arms just about above in front of the chest, in front of the shoulders, and then from there I'm just going to start opening the arms out, and then I'm going to bring them back together. If you're seated again, I've got lots of space. I can push the arms slightly behind, so I can get a nice opening across the front of the chest. If I'm laying down, I'm a little bit limited for space, but I can still open and close. So see if you can think of that nice space at the front of the chest, the collarbones lengthening, the front of the shoulder opening up a little bit more, and then just making sure that the movement is not causing pain. If the shoulder starts clicking, as you get to the point where the shoulder clicks, play with the position of the hand. What happens if I turn the hand slightly forward or slightly up? In most cases, you should be able to get rid of that clicking. But as far as there is no pain with the clicking, it doesn't really matter. 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, relaxing the arms down again, give the shoulders a little bit of a roll, and then I'm going to change the direction one more time. I'm going to go into lateral raise this time. So not quite out, not quite forward. I'm just going to go out and up. So nice, a big rounded movement, and then coming back. So imagine one of those big Swiss balls in front of you. So I might start with a little ball, and then progressively I'm going to try and see if I can make the ball a little bit bigger, and a little bit bigger, and a little bit bigger. But same as you've been doing so far, making sure that there is no grinding in the shoulder, there is no pain or discomfort as the arms are moving. 5, 4, 3, 2, one. Easing back. Now try the same thing with one arm at a time, and then see if you can have the lateral flexion. So I'm going to swing one arm around. I'm going to flex to the side. Think of a nice stretch coming down that side, easing back to the middle, and then swing the other, flexing to the side, a nice big stretch up the other way, and then back to the middle again. So whether the ball, it's a small ball or a big ball, same as before, making sure that there is no pain in the shoulder. If you're lying down on the back, you might want to support the head as you flex to the side. So with one arm, I'm going to reach and flex. With the other hand, I'm just going to support the head as I'm moving side to center, side to center again. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last time. And releasing back, allowing again the shoulders to reset in the middle, the neck, the upper body to relax. And then I'm just going to focus down onto the hips, onto the legs. So first thing is see if I can loosen up down into the lower back. So starting off with a little hip hitch. Think of hitching your left hip towards the left side of the ribcage, your right hip towards the right side of the ribcage. So I'm going to hitch up on the right, hitch up on the left, hitch up on the right, hitch up on the left. So if you're lying down, think of the back of the pelvis and just gently going from side to side, from side to side, but keep it nice and flat on the mat. So I'm not turning, I'm just pulling up on one side, pulling up on the other side, feeling a little tension into the side of the belly, and then almost like a gentle massage into the lower back, just trying to ease some of the stiffness and some of the tension away. If you're seated, think of the same, but in a vertical position. So imagine to be lifting your right seat bone up and away from the mat, easing the seat bone down, pulling up on the left, easing the left, pulling up on the right, easing the right, pulling up on the left, easing the left. So a little hitch up on one, little hitch up on the other side, using the arms onto the chair to create a little bit more balance if you need to. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, adjusting the hips, and then from that little hip hitch, I'm going to go into a little pelvic tilt. So still mobilizing through the lumbar spine. So think of a nice, easy tilt. So I'm going to tilt the pelvis back, scooping in from the belly, then rocking forward, back into neutral, tilting, and releasing the tilt. So see if I can mobilize down into the lumbar spine, down into the lower back. This is nice, easy, gentle movement coming from the very bottom of the spine. If you're laying down, use the mat to guide you. Think of pressing the lower back down into the floor and then lifting it back up again. Pressing it down and then lifting it back up. Nice, easy rocking, forward and back, forward and back. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Easing the hips back to the middle, and then I'm going to start focusing on the hip joint. So if whether you're seated or lying down, you need the ball or the pillow as the leg is quite far away, and that could create tension into the shoulder. If I'm seated, the leg is closer, so I don't really need the pillow, but if I want, I can still use it. I'm going to place the pillow or the ball between my hand and my thigh. And then what I want is to think of squeezing the two together. So I'm going to push the hand into the thigh and the thigh into the hand. So I'm going to squeeze them together and release. Squeeze them together and release. As you apply the little pressure, see if you can be aware of that tension coming down the side of the belly and into the hip. See if I can try and find a connection. Focus especially on the hip end, on the hip joint, to see if I can feel my hip flexors gripping, tightening. So I'm just going to try and pull up on the leg, press down with the arm. Pull up on the leg, press down with the arm. The foot might lift off the ground, it might not. It doesn't matter, just to see if I can be aware of that tension up that side. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing the hip, switching to the other side. So I'm going to allow that leg to have a little rest, and then same as I did on the other side. So I'm going to press the hand into the leg into the hand, and then relax. Press and release. Press and release. So see if I can be aware of that tension on the other side this time, and then really focus on the hip joint to see if I can really feel that hip flexors turning on, at least kind of like a twitching, trying to switch on, trying to work. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Easing the tension of the ball, relaxing into the hip. I'm going to move back onto the other leg. Each time I don't need the ball, but if you find that the leg is a little bit temperamental, so it doesn't want to move today, or it's struggling a bit to move today, I'm just going to use the band or the strap around the leg so that I can control the leg. I can guide the leg using the arms. So what I want this time is to think of the tension into the front of the hip that you felt earlier pressing into the ball. See if I can use that tension to help me pull that leg up. And then I'm going to ease back down. Pull the leg up and then ease back down. As if I was just trying to step up and down with that leg. Using the band, using the hands to guide the leg, and then see if I can, whether I'm lifting the leg on my own without any aid, without any help, or with the aid, with the band, to see if I can focus the tension, the intention into the front of the hip. Picture the front of the hip closing, so the leg, the thigh bone moving towards the chest, so the hip closing down, the deep hip flexors muscles tensing to create that little lift. So it doesn't matter if the foot doesn't actually physically lift off the ground. We'll see if I can at least focus the intention, the tension into the front of the hip. 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing down, relaxing the leg, relaxing the hip. I'm going to try the same thing to the other side. So using the band to assist if I need to, and then I'm just going to lift that leg up and coming down. So working into the other side, picturing the hip joint closing, and then opening again. The front of the hip twitching, tensing to create that hold, that lift up. and then easing it back down. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release it back, relaxing the hip, relaxing the leg. From hip flexion, I'm going to go in hip abduction. So I'm going to start moving the leg out to the side. So if you're lying down, whether you're lying down or seated, bring the feet and the knees a little bit closer together, and then start opening the right leg out to the right. As far to the right as I can, without moving my hips. So I'm not turning my hips to the side. It's just the leg moving into the hip socket. And then I'm going to adduct back. I'm going to pull it back. So I'm going to go out and squeeze it back in again. The right leg is moving, or one leg is moving, the other leg is holding nice and still. Same as you did for the hip flexion. If I feel that the leg feels a bit stiff, again, a bit temperamental, it doesn't really want to move, then I'm just going to use my hand to guide it. So I want the leg to go out first, and then I want the leg to come back in. To get the leg out, I need to work into the side of the hip, side of the bum. To bring the leg back in, I need to work into the inner thigh on the inside of the leg, and then squeezing it back to that center line. 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one. And release. Relaxing the hip, relaxing the leg. Same thing with the other side. So I'm going to open the leg out to the side and then squeeze it back to center. So same as you did on the other leg. If you're lying down, making sure that the pelvis is not turning with the leg. So it's just the leg moving into the hip socket. So think of the thigh bone moving into the hip joint, but the hip joint itself, or the pelvis itself, is keeping nice and still. It's not following that movement. Using the hand to guide the leg. Again, if I feel that the leg is a bit stiff or doesn't want to go there, I'm just going to use the hand to teach it how to get there. And then see if I can just be aware the side of the hip pulls the leg out, the inside of the leg pulls it back in again. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and release. Relaxing the leg, relaxing the hip. I'm putting a little bit more focus onto the inner thigh. I'm going to place the ball between the knees, or the pillow between the knees. And then this time, both legs together. Think of the inner thighs tensing. Just squeeze into the pillow, to squeeze into the ball. Imagine to be popping the ball. So I'm going to squeeze it so hard that I want the ball to pop. Then I'm going to ease that tension. And then I'm going to squeeze out again. I know by now if the leg is stiff, so if the movement is hard on the way in, when I try with my right side or when I try with my left side. So whichever leg was struggling earlier, I'm going to try and keep an eye on that side, making sure that both legs are squeezing into the ball evenly. If one doesn't seem to be doing much, I'm just going to use my hand to remind it what I wanted to do. So see if I can get a little bit more connection to the inside of the leg. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one, I'm going to squeeze, I'm going to hold the tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Squeeze a little bit harder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Squeeze a little bit more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing the tension. Relaxing the legs, giving the legs a little tap, making sure that we can apply them feel too stiff, too tight, and then we're going to give you a little stretch. So if you're seated, use the hands. I'm going to bring my hands on the inside of the legs, walk the feet maybe a little bit further apart, and then I'm going to push the legs out as far as they'll go. So see if I can create just a little release on the inside of the legs. If you're lying down, just use gravity. Allow the soles of the feet to come together and then the knees to just flop out to the side, and then just allowing gravity to do the work, pulling the legs down, easing some of the tension, some of the stiffness from the inside of the legs. Just make sure that the position is not causing pain in the hip or pain in the back. So the back feels nice and flat against the mat. There is no pressure, there is no pinching back there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back, relaxing the legs, relaxing the hips, and then I want to bring the focus onto the side of the hip, so working in reverse. So if you're lying down, I want you to roll over onto the side, and then we're going to get into clamp. So I'm going to keep the feet together, and then think of lifting the top leg up and then down. So think of like a clamp opening and closing. So I'm just going to open and close. Just make sure that the hips are not rolling backwards. So the tension is on the side of the hip, the side of the bone. If you're seated, use the band or the belt, or you can even use the hand on the side of the leg to offer a little resistance. I'm going to tie the band around the knees. If you're using a strap, so something that doesn't have much give, then just leave a little bit of space into the loop so you've got actually space to move the leg. And then I'm just going to focus on one side. I'm going to push out into the strap, into the band, and then I'm going to control my way back. I'm going to push out, 2, and then control back. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one, I'm going to push it out. I'm going to hold the tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Push a little bit harder. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Tiny little bit more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Relaxing the hip, giving the hip a little tap, relaxing the leg. I'm going to try the same thing to the other side. So if I'm seated, holding the other leg nice and still, and then I'm going to start pushing out into the band and then easing back. If I'm laying down, I'm going to turn on to the other side and then repeat the same movement on the other side. So I'm going to open and close, open and close. The hips are nice and still, facing forward, side of the hip, side of the bum working to create that lift. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, hold the lift, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, squeeze a little bit harder, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, squeeze a little bit more, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing down, giving the hip a little tap, relaxing the hip, relaxing the leg, and doing the band if you've got the band around the legs, and then we're going to give the side of the hip a little stretch. If you're lying down, rolling over onto your back again. I'm going to bring one leg towards me, opposite hand around the leg, and then I'm just going to gently pull the leg across until I can feel a nice stretch going around the side of the hip into the side of the bum. So play with the position of the hand as usual. If I change the position of my hand, it changes the angle of the hip and it changes the stretch. So see if I can find the stretch that works best for my hip. If you're seated, if you can, see if you can cross one leg over the other. So I got a little bit more depth into the stretch. if I can't do that, I'm just going to grab hold of the leg and then I'm just going to pull both legs across to the side. See if I can create just a gentle stretch into the side of the hip that way. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release in the stretch. Same thing to the other side. So reaching across with the other hand, pulling the leg over the other way. If I can, I might just cross the legs and pull. And then if I'm lying down, same as before, I'm just going to gently use the leg towards the side. Find the angle that works the best for your hip. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release it back. Relaxing the hips and releasing the legs. Just a little bit more movement into the hip joint to see if we can just get a little bit of movement going through the upper back into the spine. Raising the arms up in front of you, clasping the hands together. I'm going to take a deep breath in. As I breathe out, I'm going to swing the arms to the right. I'm going to roll over the right shoulder. I'm going to turn to the right. I'm going to pull on the left arm until I can feel a nice stretch going behind that left shoulder. Then I'm going to ease my way back, and then I'm just going to rotate to the other side, pulling across the other way. Coming back, and then over to the other side. So whether you're seated or lying down, it doesn't matter. I can still hold. If I'm lying down, I've got a little bit more space, so it's easier to rotate. See how far can I go when I turn to the right, come back. How far can I go when I turn to the left, and then back. And then each time that you turn, imagine almost like to be marking the spot. So I'm going to mark the spot. How far can I turn to the right? I can see to, I don't know, a point behind me. How far can I see when I turn to the left? As I turn again, can I go maybe a little bit further? As I turn the other way, can I go a little bit further the other way? So see if I can just gradually progress the movement to see if I can just go deepen the rotation without forcing, so I don't want to feel any pain. And then if you're seated, the arms tend to become very heavy very quickly. So if they do, I'm just going to drop them slightly and then see if I can Get the rotation still going through without tensing the shoulders, without stiffening the neck. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release it back. Relaxing the shoulders, releasing the upper back, and then from rotation, I'm going to go into a little flexion extension. So imagine a big ball, like one of the Swiss balls in front of you. I'm going to try and wrap myself around the ball, so if you can become the ball. So the same shape as the ball, and then I'm just going to try and extend and pull away. I'm going to try and wrap myself into the ball, and then I'm going to try and open up and extend. So see if you can create as much movement through the thoracic spine as possible. If you're lying down, you might want to support the head. So if you come forward, you can either hug the ball, or you can just support to the head, coming forward into flexion, and then trying to extend, trying to lift up into the back. Flexion into extension. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release it back, relaxing the shoulders, releasing the neck, making sure that there is no tension into the side, into the back of it. If you're lying down, rolling over onto your side, and in your own time, pushing yourself up into sitting, finding a comfortable seated position. Making sure that I'm able to sit reasonably upright. It's the same as we did at the beginning. Think of space at the front of the body. So I don't want to squash my belly and compress the diaphragm. I'm trying to create as much space as possible to allow a nice relaxed breath. I'm just going to use the hands at the back to support me, lean onto chair, sofa, just making sure that nothing that is going to slide, and then I'm going to try and lift up the front of the body. So think of pushing the chest forward and lifting it up. Think of the shoulders going back and down, the chest lifting a little bit higher. Then I'm going to start picking up the head. Think of lengthening up the front of the throat all the way up into the chin. I'm going to look forward, I'm going to look up, look back, and then I'm going to release, allowing the chin to tap to the chest, and the shoulders to come forward. I'm going to roll my way down as far as I feel comfortable, and then I'm curling my way back up. Bring the chest forward, shoulders back, drop them down, lift the chest a little bit higher, looking forward, looking up, looking back, and then release and coming forward. Dropping down, rounding into the back, rolling down and towards the mat. Last time, extending up as much space as I can create at the front. Raising through the chest and dropping the shoulder, lifting the chest a little bit higher, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then easing your way back to the front. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Thank you, bow.